Good morning, everyone. We're just waiting in just a minute or two for everybody to get on, and then we will start. Get started in just 1 minute. Okay, hello, hope everybody is doing well today. I'm Lori Graff and CEO of the Maryland Building Industry Association, and welcome to this webinar about a new program that we are offering. Obviously, these are trying times for all of our members as well as the association, so we're excited to be able to offer something to hopefully save our members some money, give them some different offerings of some different products, and that type of thing. So we're really excited about it. We are going to hear a lot of information. Please feel free to put any questions in either the Q&A or the chat function. We will have, I will ask questions throughout, but also towards the end, we'll have a question and answer time. So please feel free to do that at any point. Also, I just want to point out that, this is a great benefit for our members, but MBIA also does benefit from it. I know that many of our members hope to support the association. So this is a great way to give back to the association as well. Hopefully you'll find some benefit from it as well as we move forward. There is a deadline of May 18th, which we'll talk about here. You'll hear a lot about that for census information. That's no obligation, but it is an opportunity for us to get some information from you before the deadline of May 18th. So you'll hear a little bit more about that as we move forward. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our panelists. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to type it in the chat or the Q&A function. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the floor over to Mark Kaufman and Peter from the Warner Companies. If you guys want to go ahead and get started.
Hey, terrific. Thanks, Lori. I'd like to thank everybody, all the attendees today, for joining us on this webinar. As Lori mentioned, my name is Mark Kaufman with the Warner Companies. Not only like to thank the attendees, but also want to thank Chris Bond, the membership director at MBIA, as well as Lori Graff, the CEO. They've put a lot of work into this program, and we truly appreciate the opportunity to work with all the member companies at the MBIA. What you're going to see today is a terrific program with significant discounts in the healthcare space, proprietary products. We have a lot of products to share with you today. We're going to try and keep this to about 40 minutes, the entire presentation, and then have a Q&A at the end. But I also wanted to mention we have unbelievable technology, and it's very easy to navigate through the process to get your census data into us so we can quote on behalf of your organization, the different carriers that we work with. So with that being said, I'd like to turn things over to my colleague, Peter Cole of the Warner Companies.
Thanks, Mark. Hi, this is Peter Cole with the Warner Companies, and I'm going to give a very broad overview of the program, and then as I finish up that, I'm going to pass it off to Chrissy Sabatka from Kaiser, and she's going to help walk through some of the details on the Kaiser plan, and then Rob Dooley, who is going to give us some details on his program, a very unique program called Smart HRA. And so actually, Joe, if you could go back to the landing page, the home page, I'm going to start here. And what we have here is the home page for the group insurance products. There is a very similar site for individual products. And on the group insurance site, there's the individual page. We'll come back to that in more detail later. But this is the landing page for the group insurance products. And there's a couple of areas that I want to show here. So there's really three main products that we have under the group insurance program. There's a level funded program, and we have two carriers for the level funded program. We have Aetna and Pacesetter. Level funded, I'm going to give a little bit more detail in that as we go through this process. We have fully insured health insurance products from Kaiser and Care First. And then we have the Smart HRA. So, Joe, if you go up to plan information and just point your cursor there for a minute, this is where you can find all of the information about the various products. And so if you click on that, it takes you to a page where we have products on information on each one of these products. So there we go. All right, so I'm going to ask Joe to point to the MBI Benefit Select. And that is where we have a summary of information on the entire program. So if you open that up, you'll see that we have the cover page. And then as we scroll through, we're going to give you some detail on each one of these products. And so we're going to start up on the group insurance page. And as you'll notice, it looks a lot like the landing page of the website. And so we've got some detail on level funded, fully insured, and Smart HRA. And it gives you some ideas on how to choose and look at this program and determine which plan might be right for you. So now on the group insurance, what does that mean? What is a group? Well, it's 2 eligible employees or more. And so it starts at 2 and it goes up to any size group. We can cover them all. There are a couple of buttons here where if you click on those buttons, it takes you to some more detail. And so I'm going to run through the level funded program pretty quickly. Joe's going to scroll down there. And so basically level funded is this. It's a combination of fully insured and self-funding. It provides all of the protection of a fully insured program with the flexibility of a self-funded program. And so in a way, it's really the best of both worlds. And the main advantage of level funding, again, it looks and feels fully insured, but it gives you the ability to earn refunds at the end of the plan year if you have favorable experience. And so if you pull up this, when you go to the website and you pull up this brochure, you can click again at any point and find more information. And it'll give you some information on essentially how the self-funding plan works. And then we're going to go back to the website and show you how you can get proposals from that. But let's scroll down a little bit further. We'll talk about fully insured programs, and they are what they are, as you know. Fully insured means that you pay a certain rate each month based on the participation in the plan. There's a choice of provider organizations and health maintenance organizations. And we have a choice of Kaiser Permanente or Care First as your carrier. And then if you scroll down one more page, it talks a little bit about Smart Health Reimbursement Account. And this is a very unique program. I'm not going to go into the details of this, but Rob Dooley will walk through that later on in this presentation. And then scrolling on further down, we have information on the individual health insurance programs. So there's a Kaiser program that's available for individuals who are 1099 contracted employees or sole proprietors. And this is one area where we want to start to collect some data. Kaiser is going to give us very, very special pricing based on the demographics of the group. So what we're asking to do for number one is for any employers that have any number, a large number, a small number, of 1099 contracted employees. Send us that information in and we'll show you where to get the census information, but we want to collect census information on 1099 employees so we can rate them as a group so that they get the best possible coverage. And there's a couple of other options in here. One is called Select Med. There's 3 options under there. One is called Affordable Choice. And these are basically essential coverage and basic medical coverage plans, extremely affordable. And they're going to come in and they're going to be unique kinds of coverage. So the idea is that you can look at your needs and you can assess what kind of coverage you need. And then we're going to be able to provide you a wide range of coverages on both the individual basis and the group basis. So if you could go back to the landing page for home, for the group products, Joe, one more time. I'm going to show you, so let's say you wanted to get a fully insured medical proposal. So you would scroll down, the first thing you would do is say, learn more. And you'd click here, and this takes you to a page where, one, we're going to give you more information. There's places where you can click to learn more about it. They'll give you more detail. But let's go to get a fully insured medical quote for just a second. And what happens there is that a spreadsheet will drop down, and blow that up for me for just a second. And basically what that will do is give you instructions on how to get a proposal, the information that you need. There's company information on one of the tabs where you provide some basic information about the company and, name, address, street, company contact, where we can get back in touch with you. And then some information. What we are also asking you to do is send information about the current plan and your current rates, and then census information. So if you've done this, if you have an HR person, if you've ever gone out to get a bid for medical insurance, you're familiar with the census information. And we've had really good luck so far in getting the census information from folks that were at the other webinar last week. Really good, very accurate information. But that's basically how to go in and get a proposal. So maybe just pop back to the landing page for a second. And go home. So now I'm going to pass this off to Chrissy Sabatka, and she's going to talk a little bit about Kaiser and the unique programs that are available under the MBIA Benefit Select Kaiser plan.
Thanks, Peter. Hi, everybody. This is Chrissy Sabatka. I'm with Kaiser Permanente. I wanted to go through Kaiser with you. A few things that I want to mention first. As Peter was saying, we can do a Kaiser plan for your 1099 employees. Important to note that the employees are actually the ones that get billed for the premium. So you are not held responsible for their premium. So I do want to make sure that that point is clear. And then for any employer groups that are 51 plus eligible employees, we can also do a group plan for you as well. You don't need to be 1099, that can be W-2 employees. So you'll see here on this screen, we have our map of where Kaiser is. I think that there's a stigma out there about Kaiser and having to go to our locations. So I wanted to show you a map of where our locations are. We are saturated all over Virginia, DC, Maryland area. We do have some plans though, where you can go outside of the Kaiser network. So important to note that as well. So you have your map here of where the locations are in our medical centers, and I'll dive into that in a second. But we do have several plans where you can actually go outside of our network and see and keep your doctor that you currently have now, as well as any high-level pharmacy, your Rite Aid, your Walgreens, your Walmarts of the world, you can go to as well. So I wanted to kind of clear up that stigma about the way that the world perceives Kaiser. We can go to the next slide. So we have 34 medical centers. We have super centers as well. These are our super centers here. I want to take a step back and mention obviously the elephant in the room, which would be the coronavirus, COVID. So we as Kaiser are the only insurance carrier out there that is going to charge no cost for anything COVID related. The diagnosis, the treatment, no deductible, any medications, anything like that. Other carriers are just not charging for the diagnosis, and that's pretty much it. So for us, there'd be no charge for anything COVID related, which is a great time to pick up health insurance right now because of what's going on in the complete unknown. So these super centers here are where you would actually get testing. Kaiser does do the drive-through testing. We were the first ones to do that. So I'm going to take a step back and explain our medical centers. So a medical center is going to consist of your basic primary care needs, lab, radiology, pharmacy, all under one roof, as well as a bunch of different specialties. Super centers, which you see here, and if we can go to the next slide, are going to be where we really help to keep our costs down. And I think it's important to note that compared to any other major medical health insurance carrier out there, what we're going over now is a full major medical health insurance plan. God forbid worst case scenario happens, you are covered for that major medical bill. So important to note that other insurance carriers, we are going to be about 15 to 20% below the competition. And a lot of reasons is for this model that we have in place here. So these super centers, closest one to where I live is in South Baltimore County, but obviously your groups are all over. These super centers are going to have everything our medical centers have, but they also have 24/7 urgent care, which to me is a huge deal. My son, who gets sick at only 3 a.m., the last thing I want to do is go to the emergency room. They also have outpatient surgery. This is all staffed by emergency room trained doctors. This is a 24/7 location. So it's going to have all your basic primary care needs. Lab, radiology, pharmacy are 24/7. They'll also have all these specialties you see listed here. Some of them have more specialties than this. And then the 24/7 urgent care is a fantastic place because it is, as I mentioned, staffed by emergency room trained doctors. So God forbid you come in and you're having chest pain and you think, maybe it's indigestion, but they find out that it's a heart attack. They can actually triage you and then stabilize you and then send you to the emergency room, which is not something that a patient first of the world can do. So it's fantastic to have this. But also if you come in and let's say you're having a pain in your side, not sure what's going on, find out that it's your appendix has burst, they can actually send you up to outpatient surgery right then and there. So I think this model is really a fantastic model. It's a great way for your employees to save time, save money. I apologize for my dogs in the background. Save time, save money, and not have to be off of work as much. And then let's skip to the next slide, and hopefully you guys can't hear them too badly. I apologize. This slide here I wanted to keep in because of the stigma about Kaiser. When I came to Kaiser a few years ago, I didn't really understand it myself until I really dove in and realized that Kaiser is really one of the best insurance carriers out there. Our doctors are actually all top doctors. They're all board certified. They are recognized by leaders in their field. Pretty much the bulk of our doctors have Harvard and Hopkins and Georgetown backgrounds. We're usually snagging all of our doctors from Johns Hopkins. We actually just brought on the head of oncology from Hopkins, is now the head of oncology here at Kaiser. And the reason is because we are inside Kaiser, there's no billing or dealing with claims that you have to do in the outside world. It is just dealing with medical. So our doctors actually truly get to practice medicine 100% of the time, when non-Kaiser doctors are only practicing medicine probably 60% of the time, I would say, and I think I'm being generous there, because they're having to deal with insurance companies. That doesn't happen here. So we're able to get really fantastic doctors to come on board to Kaiser because they get to actually practice what they went to school for, and that's medicine. All right, so let's go to the next slide. So a few things here that I want to go over, and I want to talk about this one more time. I think in today's economy and what's going on right now, it's a really smart time to save money. And going with Kaiser, our insurance being 15 to 20% below the competition, and a lot of things that we have added on here, the next two slides you're going to see, is a great way for your employees to save money as well. So a lot of things we're doing, you save a trip to a doctor's office by you can schedule a phone call with that doctor. You can email your provider. A lot of things we're trying to do are not coming in and seeing providers. It's doing things in the comfort of your own home. So video visits, which I'll go over in the next slide, but I will say emailing my provider has been one of the most fantastic things that I've ever had to do. And then we can actually remote in specialists into your primary care office. So the point of Kaiser is to come in and be a one-stop shop. Go and see multiple doctors in one location. Your primary care doctor says, you have this rash on your arm, you need to see a dermatologist, and they can say, perfect, the dermatologist is available, go right down the hall. You go see that dermatologist who says, you know what, you're going to need to get blood work, go get the blood work, come back up and see me. And then they say, you know what, it looks like because of the blood work, you're going to need to get a medication, go downstairs and get your medication before you leave. So it's a fantastic thing. It, again, allows your employees to not have to take off of work as much because they're going to one location to get this done. But let's say the dermatologist wasn't in that practice. We can actually remote in that dermatologist so that your employee doesn't need to go to another location. So that's a fantastic thing as well. And this slide here is actually my favorite. So we did this way before coronavirus, but obviously now this has become really big. I would say we were doing 19% video visits on your smartphone or computer, and now we're up to doing about 80–85% of that. So pretty much every specialty can do a video visit with Kaiser now. Before that wasn't the case, so I'm not sure if we'll go back to every specialty doing it, but it's the bulk of our specialties. So a few things here before I kick it back off. With this video visit, you can do it for urgent matters. So 24/7, anything urgent comes up, instead of going to an urgent care facility, which is a waste of your time and money, but also potentially getting sick from someone who has something very serious going on. 70% of the reasons that you go to urgent care can be done via a video visit. So consider that. And for most of the plans, this is a free service. So it costs you absolutely nothing. But really important here, the second bullet, the video visit with your PCP. So you can actually, if you're seeing a Kaiser provider, and as I mentioned before, you can actually go outside of the Kaiser network and keep your providers. So if you're seeing a non-Kaiser provider, this isn't the case. You cannot do this, but you can do the urgent care video visits. If you're seeing a Kaiser provider, you can do a video visit with that Kaiser provider for PCP, behavioral health, dermatology, etc. Those are just to name a few. So it saves you money, it saves you time, it keeps you in the comfort of your own home, and then they can call in a prescription to your local pharmacy, which could be, as I mentioned before, the Rite Aids, the Walgreens of the world. And this is a true major medical plan. So God forbid something serious happens, you're getting a major medical plan for 15 to 20% below what you would be able to get from any other carrier out there, and especially the way we're doing it with this plan here. So consider coming on board to Kaiser, consider sending over your census for your employees, just to even get a quote and see what, what the pricing would be. All right, well, thank you guys so much. We'll be here for a little bit to answer any questions that you guys have.
Great, thank you, Chris. Yeah, I was definitely telehealth is definitely has a new place in our new reality, I think. Also, I did want to mention in the chat function are links to our website as well as these presentations. So if anyone wants to check that out, please do. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Rob Dooley right now, who's going to talk about the Power Select individual products. Rob?
So Smart HRA is a new approach to health insurance that just started January 1st of this year. And it started because of a new law that allows for individual coverage to be purchased with pre-tax dollars. So now you can treat individual insurance and get the write-offs for your employees just like you do group insurance. And let's go to the next slide. Why would a company want to do individual insurance versus group insurance? Well, the number one reason, I have 30 years in health insurance, and I've never seen a company that really enjoys renewal time. Renewal time has always been a time where the rates go up and they got to make decisions for all their employees to pick a plan that's going to meet every employee's needs. And usually in recent years, that means going to a higher deductible. So many of you have very high deductible plans because of the rates, because you're trying to keep it affordable to your employees. But yet your employees, many of them think that, boy, why did my employer pick this sucky plan? And that's not what you are looking for when you were offering group health insurance. So this new approach is very nice because it gets you out of the insurance selection business. It also gets you out of the billing business. You're no longer going to be the one picking the health plan for your employees. You're going to be giving them a defined contribution tax-free, and your employees pick the plan that is best for them. Does that make sense? No longer do you select the plan, your employees select the plan that's best for them. It also gives them a lot more options. An employee who likes Kaiser can go with Kaiser. An employee who likes Blue Cross Blue Shield can go with Blue Cross Blue Shield. An employee who wants to save money can go with off-exchange solutions. So the world of flexibility and options are just so much greater and so much more affordable on an individual basis than a group basis. And I want to go to the next slide to explain why. This is the secret a lot of insurance brokers don't want you to know about health insurance. And that is, this is from the Kaiser Family Foundation study. And it shows that only 6% of Americans have claims greater than $2,500 a year, only 6%. And 57% of Americans have claims less than $200 a year. I think I'm going to say that again. 57% of Americans have claims less than $200 a year. So the question has to be asked, well, why am I spending $400, $500, $600 a month for health insurance? And the answer is, under the current structure, you're helping to pay for that 6% that the claims could go $500,000 on. And that makes sense. However, is that something you really can afford to do at these times? Because I agree with Chrissy, it's time to save money on health insurance. We got to get those costs down. And that is what individual HRA can do, because we're offering some off-exchange solutions that gives no deductible, no high deductible, first dollar coverage, gives office visits at $25 copay, gives wellness at 100%, gives prescription drug coverage, and the premiums are 50% less than group coverage. The next thing I want to say is, when doing analysis, everybody thinks that group coverage is always cheaper than individual coverage, especially when you go with a major carrier like CareFirst. I want to let you know that I did the analysis, and there's two very popular plans that people go with. One is a $4,000 HSA plan, and another very popular plan is the gold level $1,750 deductible plan, Gold HMO. And today, those plans are 22% cheaper on the individual market than group insurance. Individual insurance for the two most popular plans is 22% cheaper on the individual market with the same carrier, pretty much same plan, versus group insurance. The next thing that is important to know about individual insurance, when the Affordable Care Act came around, it stopped the ability of an employer to give different amounts of money to different classes of employees. That's come back with individual HRA. The law allows you to give different amounts of money to different classes of employees. And I know many of you might want to give a manager or a site foreman a greater contribution to their health insurance than maybe an hourly worker. And this allows that under the individual approach. So that's all I have for you right now. I look forward to your questions about how this works. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Rob. So now we're gonna shift gears a little bit, and I'm going to turn the floor over to Joe Zakari, who's gonna go over the website and show you a little bit of the functionality of that. Joe?
Yeah, thanks, Lori. Hi, everyone. As Lori said, my name is Joe Zakari, and I also want to thank everybody and appreciate the opportunity to get in front of you today. And then what I really want to do is expand a little bit more on the discussion that Peter started with and briefly talk you through what we've done in the way of providing you two key things. One is a platform for you to go to find out more about this suite of products that you heard about here today. And the second thing I want to do is briefly explain to you what would the process be for you to go forward with understanding these products, getting a quote, all the way through to enrolling your employees or yourself, should you choose to do that. So that I'm going to try to do that pretty quickly because I think you can then get on the site and explore as much as you want or as little as you want. But I do think it's important that we do provide you that information. You, in 30 minutes or less, we've given you a lot of information on a suite of really good medical products. But I would suspect you would like to learn more about them, and that's essentially what we've tried to do with this platform that you see in front of you. So as I said, the platform provides two critical things. One is a way for you to drill down and learn more about each one of the products that you just heard about. this suite of products was intended to provide you with the products and service and pricing that best fits your need. So there's a lot of information here, a lot of different products, and what we did here is provide you more detail for each one of those products so you can then drill down and learn as much as you need to about the product and determine which product fits best for you. So for example, and Peter showed you this a little bit earlier, but in this situation, we talked about 3 main products today, and you heard a little bit about each one of those products. If whatever product you were interested in, the site provides you a lot of detail around that specific product that you can drill down on and learn more about it. And it's as simple as clicks on the screen and key links that will drive you to explain what the product is that you're interested in. So any one of these links, there's a variety of ways to get to that data, but depending on which product you're interested in, you can just go to that product and click on the various links and learn more about it and drill down and get the information that you're interested in on each specific product, and take your time and learn more about it. In addition to each page having product information, we also, as Peter showed you earlier, have a section that gives you more detail and brochures on each product. So again, you can come here, click on various links and get as much detail as you'd like about any of the products that are being offered. So that's the first most important thing. And I just wanted you to be aware of the various places to get information. And then it's a simple matter of just coming to this website and exploring and learning more about whatever product that you're interested in on the time that you need to do that. In addition, if you need additional information, there's always folks that you can reach out to, and we'll give you as much detail as you'd like about any of the products that you're interested in. The second most important thing that we did is, in addition to providing content and information about the suite of products that we're offering, we also tried to give you a tool to allow you to go forward and work the process that is necessary to get you information and quotes and enrollment straight from this website. So in addition to getting information, you can literally do all of the process from getting a quote to enrolling your employees, all from this one website. As Peter showed you earlier, it's again a simple matter of a click, get a sample quote. And I'm not going to show you that, you've already seen that, but it brings up the actual quote spreadsheet. You submit that quote, we get back to you directly, and then it starts the discussion with Peter and Rob and Mark and people like that around that quote. There's no obligation to buy. It's just a simple matter of you getting the quote and exploring what that quote means to you. And then following the steps from that point forward to get a final quote, to enroll your employees, and also talks to you about what happens from a billing and ongoing maintenance around that program. So everything you need to know about the process is also provided in this website. And I'm not going to go through each one of those in detail. What I would say to you is feel free to come to the site, explore it, learn more about the products, and then we're available to answer any questions that you have in whatever level of detail that you need. But the 2 takeaways from my discussion is that the site does 2 things. Provides you additional content about the suite of products that we're offering, and outlines the process that you need to do from getting a quote all the way through to enrolling your employees or yourself in any one of these products. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Lori. Thanks, everybody.
Great, thank you all so much. A lot of information here, obviously. So I know we'll be doing some follow-up, and I'm sure other people have questions later. But just a reminder, if you have any questions, just put it in the Q&A section or the chat section. I did have a couple questions. One being, do either of you or any of you have some examples of savings or some samples that you can kind of show us and maybe walk through us kind of what this really looks like?
Sure. This is Mark Kaufman, and Joe, thank you for posting this. I can't disclose the company's name, but a contractor here in the Mid-Atlantic region recently received a 19.9% rate increase from United Healthcare. This gentleman had approximately 80 employees, 15 of them being staff, office workers, and then about 65 laborers out in the field. And what was unique about this group is the laborers typically would work 9 months out of the year. So this is a large group. The gentleman wanted to make sure that he had coverage and needed to have coverage, essential coverage, for all of his employees. So we got a little creative because candidly, $510,000 is a lot of money, and he just received this 20% rate increase. So what we did is we kept him ACA compliant with all the federal rules and regulations. We, as Rob mentioned earlier, talking about carving out segments of populations, we carved out the staff employees, left them with United Healthcare, and took the 65 laborers, if you will, and put them in a totally compliant ACA flex program, which is very inexpensive. 65 people, their premium was $91 per month per employee. And if the employee wanted to buy up coverage and they were between the ages of 18 and 29, it would be an additional $64. They were between 30 and 39. I believe it says $83, but so on and so forth, going right down the line. But the short version is this. Our organization got very creative, shared this with the business owner, kept everybody in compliance, and literally saved them $250,000. So his premium would have been $510,000 and some change annually, and his premium is about $250,000 currently. So we did this all within a 60-day period, and basically saved them 49%, and everyone's happy. So once again, quality coverage, creativity, and being able to deliver and really help organizations out there. That's what the Warner Companies is all about. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to Lori.
So Lori, this is Rob Dooley. I have another example. We did the first webinar last week, and one of your smaller contractor groups sent in what they were paying now. And I'll give an example of one particular family. And this is a family of 4. And in the family of 4, God bless them, they got 2 kids in college, one in Texas and one in California. And with that, they have a plan because of the rate they went with, which is an HMO. Well, the HMO really doesn't have really good coverage because it's the Blue Choice network in Texas or in California. So we have a program that gives them no deductible and would pay them $2,000 the first day they're admitted in the hospital, $3,000 every day they're in the hospital, and pay 2.5 times the Medicare fee schedule. Would be a $25 copay when they go see a doctor with the Aetna network providers called First Health. $25 copay if they need blood work or lab work. And that Aetna network, the most important thing is it's a national network. So it is in California, it is in Texas where their kids are. It's also here in Maryland. But the numbers of the savings is unbelievable. they were paying for that family of four $2,100 a month, $2,100 a month for health insurance for that family of four. And this is very typical these days. That's a pretty normal number, unfortunately, for the cost of health insurance. And with the program I just described, our cost is going to be $899 a month, a savings of greater than $1,000 a month.
That's significant. Great. Perfect. Yeah, examples like that, I think really kind of show what this program can do. That's great. I did have another question that I've gotten a couple of times, and you guys have touched on this, but we do have members, you know, Maryland's a relatively small state. We do have members that either live in other states but work in Maryland and are members of MBIA, or spend their time in two different locations, either, you know, Maryland and Delaware, or Maryland and South Carolina, that kind of thing. How do these programs work with that particular kind of situation?
This is Chrissy with Kaiser. I'll chime in here real quick. So you said if they're living in Maryland and in Delaware, for us, it's going to depend on the plan that they choose. Like I said, we have plans where they can go out of the network. So as long as they're living in this area, we allow employees to actually live in other states, but they need to be on the border states and kind of close to Kaiser. So my best example for me would be York, PA, probably about 45 minutes away from 45 minutes away from Maryland. So that's completely fine. With some of the plans, we give them 10 visits to keep their provider so they can actually see those providers there. And if you're outside of the state of Maryland, you can go to whatever, or, well, Maryland, DC, and Virginia, I should say. You can go to whatever urgent care facility you want, as well as you can go to any emergency room for true medical emergency. And I did want to chime in on pricing too, because you know, it is a full major medical plan, and what Rob was saying is accurate for other carriers, but keep in mind, we are going to be 15 to 20% below the competition. So, you know, in looking at premiums, we have some family premiums that are as low as, you know, close to anywhere from $1,100 a month. Now, obviously that's, you know, it depends on the group that we get in and the, you know, the census information, average age and things like that. But our rates are not going to be near what you're going to see from the CareFirst of the world. And we do a worst case scenario for our groups of a rate cap of 15%. Generally, our groups don't even come close to seeing that. So I don't think we should have too many issues with the renewal and having the high rates in the beginning. So just want to chime in on that piece too. Thank you.
And let me also add just one other thing on that in terms of the size of the network. The Aetna products, the Paysetter products that are under level funded, the CareFirst products that are under fully insured medical, all of them have access to national networks.
Great, perfect.
With Smart HRA, I have another group example that we have in. The office manager actually lives in Florida now. And so with Smart HRA, because it's an individual choice where the company's making a contribution, I went and got quotes for the Blues of Florida. And so she can go with the Blues of Florida, so she has local coverage when she's down there. But for my example I gave about the family of four, the plan has it's a national plan, it's a PPO, so they can go to the Aetna providers if they want, but they also have coverage if they choose not to go to a participating provider.
Great.
I think the major takeaway here is that, you know, so we don't get into them. We're benefits people, and what we do as benefits people is that we tend to get into the weeds a little bit too much. But I think the major takeaway here is that if an MBIA member sends in a census, we're going to take a look at that census. We're going to call that member. We're going to discuss what their objectives are, and we're going to create a customized solution that's going to fit with them and their employees and their needs and their budget. So nothing coming out of this system is cookie cutter. And if you look at the people that are on this webcast, you can see that we've been doing this for a while. Group of folks in the room, but we've got a tremendous group of just really talented benefit experts that are going to put together customized solutions for all of the MBI members that want to participate in this program.
And if I could mention one thing, this is Mark Kaufman. We also are happy to do Zoom meetings with any member companies as well.
Yep.
Great. We did have one other question. Do the level or smart ARA, I think that's meant to be HRA plans, require participants to file their own claims?
It's a good question. We have different providers. So the one that is Select Med Pro, no, they go to the doctor, they pay their $25 copay, and they walk out. They're done. With the hospitalization, it uses the multi-plan network, and they can assign the benefits over to the hospital. So we'll pay the benefits directly to the hospital.
Great. Okay, had another question. Someone was completing the census form, but they stopped when they had to put the employee's email and phone number in. Is that something that they can just put the company's information? I think people have maybe a little bit of heartburn about that piece of it.
For Kaiser, we don't need that information. I'm not sure, Peter or Mark, if you guys need that, but for a Kaiser quote, we don't need the employee's phone number or email.
Okay.
This is Joe. They can certainly put the company's information in, certainly for the quoting purposes. Depending on the product, some of those things will be needed subsequently because some of these products have telemedicine in it, and some of those will need their emails eventually. But for quoting purposes, again, that's fine, and then we can work through it from there.
I think that's a great question because for quoting purposes, we don't need it, but Smart HRA, we're getting the employee out of the insurance business. Okay, so we are going to do one-on-one assistance with the employees to help them pick the plan that best meets their own personal needs. And for that, we are going to need the phone number and the email, but we don't need it for quoting purposes.
Perfect. I think that makes sense. And then I have another question. We only have 6 employees that take the health insurance offered by the company. Do the rest of the employees have to have proof of insurance somewhere else? I know that is some of the federal guidelines call for that. They're just thinking that their group may be bigger if the employees participate in our group. So,
For Kaiser, we don't need any proof of health insurance. That's fine.
Smart HRA has no participation requirement. None.
Yeah, normally a waiver, they can waive that. And as Chrissy and Rob said, normally it's good with just a general waiver.
okay. Great. I think, let me see, I think we actually have one more question. Hold on. How do I send, this was a question that we've gotten before. How do you send one quote to find out which of the 3 would be the best option? Obviously, there's a lot of options, and people maybe want to find out what that looks like.
You want me to, I think the simplest way to do that is just fill out one of the census forms and submit that, and then we will take it from there, as Peter talked earlier about working with that individual group and getting a variety of quotes and seeing what works best for them. And I really think that's the important message here, because if today you tried to digest everything that we told you about all of these plans, I think it would be overwhelming. I think the real message, and that's where I was coming from, is that you can learn more about any of these products on this site, which is fine, and you can do that. But more importantly, if you just take the step to get a quote and then let us work with you from there, I think you're going to find that we'll get you the best solution that meets your needs. And that's really the message that I would give you, is trying to digest each one of these plans today. That doesn't make sense. But all we were trying to do is give you a flavor for that. What we did do, though, collectively, is try to get you a suite of products that you can pick and choose from depending on what your needs are.
And Lori, if I could add one more thing, this is Mark. Companies and individuals typically wait until their renewal period before they go out to quote, and it's always the last minute and that type of stuff. It's important that, for not only you, but for us, if you want to, if you can quote and get quotes from us at any time during the year. You do not have to wait until your renewal period. If you choose to work with us, then all we would do is send a 30-day notice to the insurance carrier, and you would be able to move coverage mid-year or at any time during the year. One other thing, if you're not getting the service that you need, or if your current broker is not bringing creative ideas and different things to the table for you as an organization, they're just spreadsheeting things. I would suggest, assigning the Warner Companies MBIA as well, because MBIA will benefit, which always goes back, the benefit goes back to the association and the member companies. So you can always do what is called a broker of record letter and, obtain our services. You're not going to pay any more than you're already paying with your current broker. So that may be an alternative for some of you folks as well.
Great, and that actually plays into another question we had, which is our company is already committed to a June 1st renewal with our broker and group health insurance company. We have a low participation among the field employees. Could we carve out that piece this year, or do we have to wait until January 1st of next year to make any changes with you all?
Yeah, I like the idea of carving out a segment of employees, because that's what individual HRA allows. So they could keep, if they wanted to, they could keep their group plan that they're committed to for the current group, and they could segment out the people who don't want to participate because the cost is too high, and offer them a much more affordable option. And that's kind of the illustration Mark provided earlier, that the Warner Company did with the asphalt company.
Sorry, the dogs are here again, but we can do the same thing. Lovely working from home. We can do the same thing. So you can do a carve out. It doesn't matter to us at Kaiser. The employees can have a health insurance plan and decide to come on to us, June, obviously at open enrollment. It doesn't, it really doesn't matter to Kaiser.
Great, perfect. Well, again, a lot of information here. Does anybody have any parting words? We're running up to our hour, so I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I appreciate everybody participating. If there's any parting words about, I think the big message is to reach out, and we'll, I think everybody can work with us, and we can try to figure out the best solution for each individual situation. Does anybody have any parting words?
Yeah, I would just say go to the website, click around, gather up some information, and click on one of them that says get us a quote, and we will quote a variety of solutions for you.
Great, perfect. Well, thank you so much for everything, and we're looking forward to hearing from some of our members and hearing some success stories. So great, thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.